Hello, explorers, and welcome to the March 2022 Into the Radius Developer Q&A. I am Darius, the Community Manager for ITR, and with me is none other than the producer of ITR, Vector. As always, if you'd like your questions to be answered in one of our FAQs or Q&As, please feel free to leave them on our socials, Discord server, or our subreddit. Without further ado, let's jump into the question that is on everyone's mind. Where is the 2.2 update and what will it bring, Vector?
Yeah, that is kind of an interesting question. So, we had to delay the 0.2 update because it's a big update and we have lots of features stored for you guys. The one that we already teased is the comeback of the shooting range. It will include the kill house, all the mini games, but it's now bigger, better than it used to be. So we're looking forward to your feedback on that. The other thing is we are changing the game so that you can take up to 5 missions simultaneously. Also, a big quality of life change, so we had to change the balance a bit to account for it, but yeah. And we also made new player hand model, new wristwatch that is mainly an optimization but also art improvement feature. We improved the graphics of the game. Now, if you set the effects to medium or high, you will have dynamic shadows from basically everything. We swapped the tree models, redone the ground texture, added grass, all sorts of detailing here and there. And on top of that, we improved performance. So basically, the game should perform like before the patch, but look better. And
various bug fixes, like all of that stuff.
Yeah, lots of convenience and balance changes. We switched some guns, made them lower access level. Like, for example, SKS is one level lower. And we also increased the armor piercing for some calibers. Some calibers have 100% armor piercing now. There's lots of changes. There will be a detailed patch log, but that's kind of the.
And
not to forget, we are making the new player experience, the new tutorial. Because we had lots of complaints that tutorial is too long, and actually a tutorial was blocking us from adding more features to the game because we would need to explain them in the tutorial and it would bloat even more the tutorial. So now it's separated into parts that we can trigger when we need them. It's tied to the access level. So yeah, we think it's more it's much better now. Should be better. It's shorter. It's gives you information when you need it, and also it's more expandable.
Yeah, that'll definitely help out the newer explorers that are just joining into the radius, and maybe some of our veteran players will also have some insight on it, and they'll say hopefully they'll say, oh yeah, this tutorial is way better than what it used to be.
And concerning the when, we're, I wouldn't say the exact date, but this big patch is going to go through beta. So we'll have, I hope, multiple betas for it. And it is quite around the corner. That's all I can say about it.
And for our viewers that don't know how our big patches usually go, is they first enter a beta phase. So to access this big patch, you'd have to switch your Steam branch to the beta branch, and then you're able to play. And this is a very intricate process where we're communicating with our players very tightly. So we send them different polls, Google Forms, asking them how everything's going. There's a lot of usually hot fixes, like maybe balance changes during these couple of weeks while the big update is in beta. And after that, it goes on to the active branch, and everybody can just click a button and easily access it. So these first, while it's in the beta phase, it's like our core audience, our dedicated fan base gets to hop in. They know immediately when it's live, and they check it out and give us feedback. So it's a very fun process for sure. And
yeah, like everybody can join. The saves are duplicated from your live game, so you can start new or you can do whatever. Like the saves are, like your main game saves are safe. So yeah, encourage everybody to try the beta when it's available. So yeah, we're looking forward to your feedback. That's one of the like main reasons why we do it.
Of course. On to our next question. Some people are dissatisfied with the 2.0 map layouts and quality, saying that the 1.0 map was better. What plans do you have and can share for upgrading the 2.0 maps?
Well, better is kind of subjective.
Yeah, very subjective. I'm just reading off
because,
like,
there are like multiple reasons why we split the map in the first place, and we are not going to like walk back on those reasons because there are like totally valid reasons for doing like. Most of those are performance or production oriented because we use the static lighting, and like baking this huge map would be like we'd need some sort of like, I don't know, multiple hundreds of gigabytes of RAM, even like.
So it consumes a lot of power, a lot of resources to manage
like
that.
It's very hard to work on, very hard to expand, and like hard to optimize. It's basically too much of a piece for us to swallow. Like if we would be a AAA studio, then yeah, that would be a better solution, but not for the game or our scope. So yeah, there is not going to be a huge map. And concerning the improvements of the map, we're like constantly improving. Like we are improving the graphics, we're improving the set dressing, the amount of props that are on the map. And currently we want to focus on improving the supernatural feel that kind of got reduced in the 2.0 compared to 1.
Many players were asking about it, the atmosphere, the overall atmosphere. So yeah,
like kind of the atmosphere is the same, but it's lacking in those supernatural department, like those huge objects, like the landing head we had, or some like creepy sounds. That is all is going to be worked on. In that regard, yeah, we are going to improve maps a lot.
Awesome. Good to hear. And a side question also that is associated with the maps is, will you ever make the game open world again and combine all those maps into one seamless area? So you just mentioned that the reason these maps are dissected, there are many of them, is because of the whole processing power and because of technical issues. So in the future, say for example, if we did have more processing power, like would we be able to create one huge map again?
I don't think we would do it because like still the downsides outweigh the profits, because like imagine like in 0.1 we wanted to add another location. There is no place anymore on the map, and we would need to do another map. But like if we like we would need to do another large scale world that is basically we would need to double the size of the world, or it will be some sort of like smallish map, but like we would need it won't be open world anymore.
Okay.
Like we would get to the same thing that we have in 0.2. That's one of the main concerns, that we basically can't add anymore to such a construct.
Okay.
It kind of because the game is constantly evolving, it's just not a good solution overall.
All right. So this is the new direction, so to speak, of 2.0. One of the biggest changes compared to 1.0. Next question. We have a lot to go through. Do you have anything conceptualized for your next project once IDR is finished?
No, not in the moment. ITR is
that's pretty
far from finished. So yeah. We don't have the brain power for it.
Yeah, we think, and hopefully, like ITR still has many years in it. So there's so much content that we want to add, and stuff we discuss, and like there are numerous little features that, like, yeah, one day we'll add it, and who knows when. And like there's a whole pile of stuff, of ideas that hopefully will be realized one day in ITR. What do you think of the new modding enthusiasts that have emerged with the community, within the community? And what do you think of the mods they've developed so far?
Yeah, that's kind of a surprise party that happens. Like it just sprang out like overnight or something. Like somebody came up and, hey, I did the mod, and everybody like, oh, how did you do it? And they started, and like lots of guys are like trying to make mods, but the game is kind of we don't provide the SDK, so they are limited with what they can do, because like they need to unpack the sources, like reverse engineer our stuff, and like
it's currently hard. Modding is just hardcore. Those people that do it, like, hats off to them, because it's so much tougher to do it without proper mod support, which I hope one day we will implement fully.
Yeah, but it's kind of showing us the interest to modding at first, like, because I was more thinking that mods are basically for the bigger games. Like they need a bigger community to have those actually modders to support an active modding community in the first place. But yeah, once Radius is almost in that league, so yeah, maybe we can prioritize it differently now. And the other thing is that mods are showing us interest in some, like, what people are modding. Like, of course, they mod what they can mod. There's lots of requests on what they can't mod, but nevertheless, it shows interest in what people actually like want in game. Like, for example, if they do a mod for replacing the sounds from Call of Duty and everybody likes it, it clearly says to us that our sounds suck, but like we knew that before. Actually, that's one more thing coming up into the 2.2 patch. We have replaced all the sounds for all the pistols for now. Totally new sounds for like silencers, for shots, like we added more detail, more variation.
Yeah. Luckily, we finally have a new sound designer on our team, so he's working on a lot of stuff for us. And finally, after a long time, like, the sounds won't be an issue. They'll be much better, and I can't wait personally. Our players, recently we did post a teaser, a work in progress on the sounds. So it wasn't their final version. It was just like a work in progress. So you might have seen it on our Discord subreddit, Twitter, so on Steam. We posted a little teaser, like a 20-second video of showcasing it. Next up is, what do you think about adding enemies resembling animals like wolves or bears? Are there any bears in the radius, Vector? That's basically the question.
Yeah, currently not in the plans, something along those lines. I'm personally not 100% opposed to it, but we have much more pressing issues.
Well, maybe like little critters, like squirrels or bunnies, or maybe that. Maybe
well, it's I think the question is a bit different.
Do they exist? Yeah, do they exist in the radius? I think that's the question. Or maybe there's a very freaky shadow bunny,
yeah. The question
bunny.
is there are different requests coming up. It's like some people want some more neutral creatures, for example, some sort of squirrels, bunnies, or whatever. That something that doesn't want to kill you in the radius.
Yes,
maybe. As for the especially some mutated boar or bear, I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe we can take it and give it some totally different function. But for now, I'd want to improve the current enemy, fix the sliders and improve the mimic logic. And there's basically lots of room for improvement in the current ones.
It's relatively similar to the question we get about new guns and new ammo, and our answer is the same, that we want to first refine the already pre-existing stuff, and after that we'll go for new content. It's way better than piling on a lot of unfinished content and then working through all of that. And a relatively similar question is, will you add human enemies or NPCs to the game? This is actually a very there are some players who are very, I wouldn't say adamant, but they're like, why are there only these shadow enemies, these shadow creatures? Well, the mimics or the sliders. Why aren't there any humans in the game, in the radius?
Cheeky breaky. Because we're not Stalker VR, kind of. So, no, you don't get human NPCs. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the short answer. At least in this version of the radius.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think, I personally think it adds to the whole world, the fact that you are alone and there is no human, or there is no human-like, I suppose, entity that you can relate to. And that's how it is. Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. Honestly, there are some people who are also totally fine with it, and some who are just, they're baffled by the fact that there are no humans in this game, or human NPCs. And I guess we're not Stalker VR is a good answer. But no, I get it, because it's also related to the lore of the game, and it plays a big part. When developing, did you use any real-life references of how things work and operate? For example, sights, hollow sights, gun replicas, etc.
Yeah, we use lots of reference. For example, I have some scopes in on my table.
Oh, cool.
I have some gun replicas.
Why does he have all of it? Just lying around. Yeah, I've got some guns. I've got some.
We look at the real thing and something I remember from the army, some shooting, but we don't do it sometimes one-to-one because of the gameplay considerations. For example, for the scopes, we could do it super realistic with all those parallaxes, but we think it's going to make using the scopes extremely hard for most of the players, because you would need to align and have this focal distance. It's really hard in VR. So we take inspiration from real life, but we really
add some quality of life stuff as well. So
quality of life, and see what's the core feature of this experience in real life, and try to replicate it into we are not milsim or training simulator or some sort. So we try and to not break the realism, like to stay in this like sweet spot between the like uber realism and like some gameplay. So it's kind of tough middle ground.
But now the players know that you always have a gun next to you. Just if they start asking too much, like you've always got it. Next up, have you ever considered selling art or posters for your game? This is actually another question that we get relatively often about our art, about the style, the overall style of the game. So, would you consider selling it?
Well, we are considering selling it. Like right now, we have more of those posters, and like maybe we could print like, but most of the time it's hard,
also
like trading it's also, physical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also a matter of physical or digital. Like, which one are we talking precisely?
Like, if we're doing physical, then we need to team up with some other and like some partners and like split revenue split, and like most of the time it's not worth the hassle. At least currently, like maybe times change, the game grows, and if we're talking purely digital, maybe we can do something along those lines, but I can talk.
Maybe we can actually in our previous Q&A we answered a question about DLCs, so maybe it could be like as a part of a DLC pack or something, like have a digital art book, digital posters. I think that's
plausible. that could be the case. Like, we don't want any like microtransactions or something, so we could do a DLC with some sort of like posters, art, some, I don't know.
Just
this kind of thing.
Different wallpapers. I don't know, for example, for your desktop or for your mobile devices, like stuff like that. I think it would be pretty cool. Pet show stuff, of course, because why not, like pet show stickers or something. We've actually managed to breeze through these questions. We've got one more question, and I hope you can elaborate on it. This isn't a very popular question, but I still think it's pretty interesting, so I selected it. Any thoughts of open sourcing the code, not the assets, but the code of the game? Maybe in the future, before ending the support for it. ITR could benefit from community involvement, just like Stalker.
Well, like if you talk about Stalker, nobody outsourced or made it open source. Somebody just leaked it. And everybody took it and ran, and nobody just enforces, like goes to sue you. But every like modder that uses it, they're kind of exposed to being sued or like getting a cease and desist.
I actually didn't know that. That's a very interesting fact. I had no idea. I didn't remember. It was so many years ago. I just know that the code is out there. I just didn't know it.
Yeah, the code is out there, but like nobody officially like went and gave a license for it. Just some like I don't know, ex-dev or somebody leaked it, and like everybody ran with it. So yeah. And it's actually very complex, because like if we give it out, like we use Unreal Engine, and we can't give out Unreal Engine because like we don't own it. It's Epic Games stuff. We would need to some sort of do our modifications to it and then split the code, and then we would still need to own copyright for our basically IP, because if we would do a sequel, then if we open source it, then like we can't make a sequel.
Yeah.
And if we're, I don't know, for example, the studio is going to get some investment or bought by, like, I'm not talking about it's going to happen, but like sometimes things happen.
Yeah, it's just an example. It's just an example.
First things that like investors want to know is that, do you own the IP? Do you own actually own everything. And
you say
it's
no.
It's just a cesspool, basically. That's why nobody does it.
No, it's done.
It's almost technically impossible, almost to do it properly.
It's done, but very rarely. I don't even. It's hard for me to come up with an example right off the bat, but I've definitely heard of people who did give out the code, but it's very rare.
It's kind of like some sort of like solo indie dev can do whatever, but most of the time when like considerable amount of things are involved, it's just almost not possible.
Okay, I see. Then I guess like late in the future, we shall understand it ourselves better. Like, should it be done? Should it not be done?
Mostly like if we release the SDK, proper SDK, and the project for like using it, then it's almost the same. Like you don't get.
Oh, it is? I didn't know that.
Well, it's kind of like the Pavlov does its modding. Like you download Unreal Engine, you download their project, and like basically you can mod it this way. You can, if you know how, you can modify the engine.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But yeah.
Then I guess the closest thing that our players can expect to this is, well, mod support sometime in the future. So that's actually it. I didn't think we would breeze through these questions so quickly, but these were one of the most upvoted questions and some that we were, I wouldn't say sleeping on for a while, but as we said in our last Q&A video, these come out. We try to release them like once every quarter of the year, so once every relatively 3 months or so. Our previous one was in December. This one is in March. Hopefully our next one will be maybe in June, July. We'll see how things go. And thank you to everybody who submitted their questions. Please send more our way. We answer them through FAQs, through Q&As. On Discord, we even have FSS, frequently suggested stuff, where we answer your suggestions. Our game designer answers them. So that's pretty much for this video. Any parting thoughts, Vector?
Well, yeah, we're looking forward to beta of the upcoming patch, and I hope to see you there.
Yep. Please join the beta. You don't have to wait long. We promise. Well, we promise, fingers crossed, as much as possible, because it is on its way, and it is huge. It is very exciting, and there's a lot of stuff, as Vector has already mentioned, stuff that'll be changed, and well, we hope you love it. We really do hope you love it. So thank you everybody for watching our March Q&A, and we'll see you next time, I guess. Bye.
Bye.